doubt.
Yes, now it's not in doubt.
What happened today at the Supreme?
Distinguished lady and gentlemen, members of the National Working Committee here present, we have called you to this press conference to make some clarifications. The news has been going around about a purported judgment by the Supreme Court today. There was no judgment by the Supreme Court. No fresh judgment by the Supreme Court at all. The Supreme Court sat today for less than 10 minutes. Less than 10 minutes to correct a clerical error on page 13 of the judgment they delivered on October 14, 2021. And what was the clerical error? At the Jigawa, which is Birnin Kudu High Court, Edozie Njoku's name was mentioned there as having been suspended by the party. That was purported to have been suspended. And you knew that all that transpired at the Birnin Kudu High Court was set aside by the Court of Appeal, Kano. That clerical correction, that clerical error was just on page 13 of the judgment of the Supreme Court. Page 13, just one name, Edozie Njoku, to replace my name there, because my name was not mentioned at the Birnin Kudu High Court. Because I have never been suspended by anybody. I've always been the national chairman of the party because I was duly elected by at the national convention of the party held on the 31st of May 2019 at Oka, monitored by INEC, a report duly written. And the same day, we got a report in the evening that one Edozie Njoku held his own convention in Owerri. The same day, not monitored by INEC. And since that day, this man has been moving around causing confusion. Somebody not known by law, not known by the constitution of the party. He is an impostor. He does not exist. I've always said that. And what happened today at the Supreme Court has vindicated me. You could remember that since last year, the man has been parading fake judgments of the Supreme Court, enrolled orders, fake. And I was calling the police, calling the federal authorities to deal with this guy because he was bringing the reputation of this country to opprobrium globally. That they should call him to order. This kind of person should not exist in a decent society. Somebody not known by law, not known to law, not known to constitution of the party. Why is he parading himself, causing confusion all over the place? The Supreme Court did not give any judgment today because it has already given its judgment on October 14, 2021, in which it affirmed the judgment of Court of Appeal Kano. And Court of Appeal Kano affirmed me as national chairman, resting on the judgment of Anoka High Court, which has not been appealed till date. And the Supreme Court affirmed the judgment of the Court of Appeal and dismissed all applications for joinder, including the application by the so-called Edozie Njoku. It was dismissed. So there was no way the Supreme Court could have sat in judgment over its own judgment. Because as far as we are concerned, that judgment is rex judicatum. Rex judicatum. That judgment has been dealt with and is gone and gone forever. So Edozie Njoku cannot be national chairman of APGA because it does not exist. He was not a party to the suit at the Court of Appeal, Kano. He was not a party at the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court threw away his application for joinder. What are we talking about in this country? My national chairmanship is not in dispute. It has been settled by the Supreme Court. And there was also an appeal by Edozie Njoku in Oka, which was transferred to Supreme Court of Appeal, Abuja. In that Court of Appeal judgment, he asked that he should be declared the national chairman of the party. And the Court of Appeal threw away his application and affirmed me as the national chairman of the party. That judgment has not been appealed till date. What are we talking about, for goodness sake? And we are very disappointed with some of the media organizations, like channels. Channels went on air with fake reports, without clarifying, without asking me. They should have called me to balance the story. If they had called me, they wouldn't have messed up their reputation. Channels is a reputable media organization in Nigeria, and we hold them in high regard. And I respect them, and we have a good working relationship with them. Why should they stab us in the back? They went on air with a fake story. That story was fake. The Supreme Court did not give any judgment today. What the Supreme Court gave was a ruling on an application for them to change that name on page 13 of the judgment. And they said clearly that they stand by their judgment of October 14, 2021. Nothing has vitiated that judgment, for goodness sake. We cannot be calling press conference every day for somebody who does not exist. Edozie Njoku does not exist. He's facing a criminal charge at the Buhari High Court. The police investigated the case and found him culpable and charged him to court. He was even detained at Suleja High Court, Suleja Correctional Center. And you know, okay, now what happened today? What the Supreme Court did? Edozie Njoku had already on his own corrected that page 13. On his own, so he assumed the responsibility of the Supreme Court. I don't have any problem with the Supreme Court. I'd expected the Supreme Court to send him directly to jail from there. They should have sent him to jail, because what the man has succeeded in doing is demeaning the integrity of the Supreme Court. So it means that anybody can wake up from sleep or from slumber, walk into the Supreme Court, have a tete-a-tete with some staff and roll out an order of the Supreme Court. Even me, I found it difficult to enter the Supreme Court, because I see that place as sacred. I don't enter the Supreme Court anyhow. But Edozie Njoku visits the Supreme Court every day. What is he looking for there? The man does not exist. It's an impostor, and he should be dealt with in accordance with the law. Why should the federal government allow this kind of person to be roaming about the streets, without any caution and without any consequence? It is unfair. We must save the integrity of this nation. Nigeria is one of the biggest nations that God made. But we are destroying Nigeria by ourselves, by allowing miscreants and nincompoops to take over our country. Such a man called Edozie Njoku should be dealt with in accordance with the law, with immediate effect, because police had found him culpable for forging the judgment of the Supreme Court. Where did he get the judgment he was parading? Who gave him the authority to forge the judgments of the Supreme Court and put the names of the justices on the judgment, fake judgment, and parading them? They even wrote INEC to bamboozle INEC to recognize him as national chairman sometime last year, about 27th of May, 2022. So, but INEC was circumspect. They said, no, we know about this case. We cannot just deal with this man. The man didn't pass through any non-convention, because it is the responsibility of INEC to conduct national conventions, register political parties, coordinate or supervise the operations. That's the responsibility of INEC. INEC knows who is who. If anybody is in doubt, call INEC today. Say, INEC, did Edozie Njoku hold any national convention? There was none. Because the INEC has written the first CID, the Inspector General of Police, disclaiming disowning Edozie Njoku. The Supreme Court has also written the Inspector General of Police, disowning Edozie Njoku and disowning the judgment he was parading. Why are we making a mountain out of a molehill? Why? I think the Nigerian press, I'm a journalist, the Nigerian press must be circumspect. Let's rise up and defend our profession. We should not allow miscreants, political scallywags, nincompoops, never do wells to overrun this sacred profession called journalism. We must report the truth because we know that the truth is sacred. We should not be calling this kind of press conference. We have more important things to do. We've concluded the elections. What are we going to gain out of this? And the man has been calling people since he submitted the fake reports to the media. He's been calling people to give him money to validate their election. Can you believe it? And he's threatening the Anambra State governor to call him immediately for discussions. This man is a criminal. He wrote the bank 3 weeks ago, telling the bank to put a lien on our account. This was a stranger to the party. He never existed. What the man is targeting is the little cash we have in the bank. I swear in the name of God who made me, God will pay him back in his own coin. Let him be very careful before the wrath of God falls upon his head. The federal government must do something immediately to arrest this ugly development. This man called Edozie Njoku, the law must take its course. No matter how anybody pretends to protect him and protect the people that are backing him, justice must be done. The truth is unassailable. It cannot kill this truth. It's immutable. It cannot kill the truth. The truth will always survive. That is the truth of the matter. Why should a miscreant be given audience by the Supreme Court? Why? A miscreant. He was not a party to the suit at the Court of Appeal, Kano. He was to the suit at the Supreme Court. Okay, he gave him audience because he wrote an application. Beautiful. I don't have any grounds about that. But for the man to misrepresent the Supreme Court is something we must all condemn. Because it's tainting the integrity of the Supreme Court. Even me, myself, I've entered the Supreme Court only twice. When the Supreme Court gave judgments in my favor, only 2 times in all my life. Because I see the Supreme Court as a sacred temple. I cannot step into that place. And that's where Edozie Njoku goes to every day. What is he looking for there? I'm forging the documents of the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has not done anything about it. I'm calling them to do something about Edozie Njoku. He has desecrated the temple of justice, and he must face the full weight of the law. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Leave them, they will edit it instead of going to type.
Thanks for checking out SYMFONI on YouTube. Please be sure to subscribe and like our videos for updates.